We're going to start off with applying a tonal ground. Whatever substrate you choose to start off with, it should at least be pre-gessoed. This happens to be a pre-stretched, pre-gessoed canvas from Michaels. I think it's 16 by 20. This is a nice convenient size to start off with. What you don't see yet is that I have covered this wooden surface with saran wrap. And then there's this type of drop cloth that's plastic on one end. So this whole table is protected from any kind of droppings, and it's pretty much waterproof. I'm also wearing an apron. The supplies you need for this stage are burnt sienna, a wide flat brush that doesn't shed, a palette knife. I have a blue shop towel. I like using the blue shop towels because they don't leave residue, they don't shed, and you can actually wash them out and use them over and over, so these are really convenient. And then I always have a rag with me as well. I'm going to mix my burnt sienna in here and add some water, and then use my brush to apply the substrate. So I also have this container of water. Now I'm ready to get started with my tonal ground. And mix it pretty thoroughly. I like to wet this towel, so when I wet it and I wipe my palette knife off, it's nice and clean for when I'm ready to use it next. So I'm going to use my brush. I'm going to wet my brush first and dab it off. So if it's wet, then the paint won't suck up into the brush as much. You want to start off with your edges first. And just really press it into the crevices. You can be pretty vigorous when you're first applying it. And after you've applied it, you can rub the brush along it nice and smoothly. The last part at the end, you want to take the brush and just go over it to smooth it out in the same direction. I've set my primed canvases aside, and now I'm just going to show you how to clean up real quick. This is wet, okay? So because it's already wet, I'm going to stick my brush and palette knife in my water. Maybe use the brush to get off a little bit of the paint from the palette knife. And you want to keep your materials clean. As soon as you use them, especially with acrylic, clean them off so that they're ready to go. If you let acrylic dry on your supplies, it'll be really hard to get it off later. You can get it off, but the labor involved is kind of ridiculous. So just make sure to clean up your supplies. So this is an expensive brush, so you want to clean it up really well. And ideally, I have a sink over there, so ideally I would have 2 or 3 buckets of water, so this water's pretty dirty. So now I'm going to take this over to the sink and wash it with soap and water. I'm also took this over to the sink and rinsed it out, so this is clean. It's got some residue left over from the last time I painted, but now it's cleaned out. And we can set that stuff aside. I will go ahead and rinse this out so that I can set this up to dry and get ready for the next round.